Hey, and welcome back to a new episode of Transport Fever 2, the Company Destroyer Edition. The traffic jam at this transfer hub is absolutely insane. Nothing's moving anymore. So my only logical conclusion is something needs to be rebuilt here. And exactly how I'm going to tackle that, well, that's what you're about to see. As you can already tell from the specific arrangement, I've also made sure that the lines don't cross at this point. The reason is simple. If they did, we'd risk another traffic jam, and all the effort put into this rebuild would have been for nothing. Now that the truck terminal has been adjusted and rebuilt, it's time to move on to a bus line that needs some reworking. The issue here is that this bus route is in direct competition with my train line, which results in the train not getting any passengers. So I need to make some changes to balance things out. And after splitting up the bus line, I move on to improving a train route. The goal here is to increase its transport capacity so it can carry more goods at once. By doing this, I aim not only to boost steel production, but also to improve the profitability of the entire line. After upgrading a few passenger routes, both train and truck or bus lines, I now move on to setting up a new line that will hopefully generate a solid amount of income. This new coal line connects directly to a steel mill, simply to help boost its supply and in return start bringing in some much needed profit.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left.
Now it's time for our first time lapse of the day. The traffic jam is clearing up better than expected, and the transfer hub is running much more smoothly. Production levels are also starting to rise again, definitely a good sign all around. After this traffic meltdown, all that's left is for everything to recover and stabilize. Last episode, I made a small mistake in my thinking. Of course, the game is designed so that when I unload crude oil near an oil refinery, it doesn't get stored at the station, it goes directly to the refinery. But since I want to boost the Moneymaker 2 line, I actually need that crude oil to be available at the station. So I loaded up sandbox mode and placed 2 new oil wells right at the train stations. This way, the crude oil is guaranteed to be stored at the station rather than being pumped straight into the refinery. To ensure that the train line transporting refined oil from the large Moneymaker line to the fuel refinery doesn't return empty, I've set it up so that on the return trip, the train also carries fuel. This fuel is then offloaded at the Moneymaker station and handed over to truck lines that distribute it to nearby cities. That way, I avoid empty return trips and make the whole operation much more efficient. After completing this larger reconstruction, I immediately added another layer to the system. Since I no longer need the tram line that used to transport crude oil one way and bring back fuel halfway to offload it, I decided to repurpose parts of it rather than scrap everything. The most logical step for me was to replace the coal mine on that route with a stone quarry. Here's why. The truck line that previously delivered stone to the train station, used for supplying a construction materials factory, will now be deleted and replaced. This allows me to establish a new train line that delivers construction materials up to the same area, and on its return trip, it can pick up stone from the quarry. Additionally, the truck line that used to carry coal to the steel mill just to generate some quick money is now being restructured. Instead of transporting coal, it will now deliver stone to the train station of the fuel refinery. On the way back, it will continue to carry fuel, keeping the route profitable and efficient. It's all a bit complicated, I know, but once you see it in action, it actually starts to make a lot more sense. Next up are some optimizations to existing lines. Many of the truck lines that were originally set up just to deliver goods to cities only had a single truck running, just enough to get production started. But now that those production chains are actually up and running, I can start adjusting the delivery rates. The goal here is to slightly increase the truck frequency, just enough to stay a bit above the actual demand of each city. That way, the supply stays steady without wasting resources or oversaturating the line, keeping things efficient and profitable. This also applies to this particular train line, which is currently struggling to keep up with demand. So I'm replacing it entirely, hoping not only to improve the overall performance and capacity of the route, but also that the new setup will finally start turning a profit. Fingers crossed that the changes will pay off and give this line a more sustainable future. In addition, I'm building a kind of bypass around this station to help separate passenger and freight traffic. The idea is to avoid unnecessary congestion by making sure the different types of trains don't interfere with each other too much. Hopefully, this will improve the flow of everything passing through the area and make operations a bit smoother overall.